Super Mario Land wasn't just Mario's debut on the Game Boy, it's one of the best-selling Super Mario Bros. Games of all time. The story of Super Mario Land is closely tied to the story of the Game Boy itself. As Nintendo was developing the Game Boy in the late 1980s, CEO Hiroshi Yamauchi thought they should package a new Super Mario game with the system, just as they had included the original Super Mario Bros. With the NES. Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto was too busy working on Super Mario Bros. 3 to be involved in the project, so for the first time in the history of the franchise, a new Super Mario game was created without him. Super Mario Land was developed by Nintendo's R&D 1 division, the same group that was designing the Game Boy itself. The producer was the late Gunpei Yokoi, the brilliant innovator who designed the Game Boy itself and is known for inventing the crosspad controller, which is still used in some form on most modern gaming controllers. Yokoi invented the crosspad for the Game & Watch series, a simpler set of handheld games first released by Nintendo in 1980. In many ways, the Game Boy is the direct evolution of the Game & Watch series, keeping the LCD display, but adding a cartridge slot for swappable games. Gunpei Yokoi was also the producer of the original Donkey Kong arcade game, so he certainly had the skills to transition Mario to the Game Boy. Super Mario Land was directed by Satoru Okada, who also played a critical role in the Game Boy's development. Okada and Yokoi had collaborated before on classic games like Kid Icarus and Metroid. The music was composed by Hirokazu Tanaka, who often goes by the name Hip Tanaka. The soundtrack features some catchy tunes that really showcase the chiptune capabilities of the Game Boy. Tanaka had also composed music for Metroid and would go on to work on many games, including Earthbound and Dr. Mario. Some changes had to be made to make Mario work on the monochromatic handheld system. Instead of a differently colored mushroom, 1-ups were now represented by hearts. Mario can still get a Starman for temporary invincibility, but the flowers in this game grant the Super Ball ability. You can only fire one Super Ball at a time, but it will bounce all around the screen and can even collect coins. Instead of the Mushroom Kingdom, Super Mario Land is set in Sarasa Land, and instead of Princess Toadstool, Mario must rescue Princess Daisy, who often transforms into a monster. Weird. The game is much shorter than a typical Mario game with only 12 levels, but the shorter length seems appropriate for a handheld experience. 2 of the levels are side-scrolling shooters for an interesting change of pace. Super Mario Land was a huge success when it released alongside the Game Boy in 1989. Although it was designed to be packaged with the system, Nintendo obtained the rights to Tetris during development and decided the block-dropping puzzler was a better pack-in game to reach a broader audience. Ultimately, packaging the Game Boy with Tetris probably was the right call, but Super Mario Land was able to stand on its own, selling over 18 million copies, which is more than even Super Mario Bros. 3 sold. 3 years later, Nintendo followed the game up with a sequel, Super Mario Land 2: 6 Golden Coins, which is not only one of the best games on the Game Boy, but is the debut of Wario, one of the franchise's greatest characters. In modern times, players and critics still find simple enjoyment from Mario's handheld debut. When IGN released their list of the best Game Boy games of all time, they ranked Super Mario Land at number 8. Modern players that attempt this game will still have to deal with all of the challenges retro games are notorious for. The game may be short, but that doesn't mean it's easy. You'll face vicious enemies, ferocious bosses, and your platforming abilities will be put to the test as you leap across instant death pits. Make too many wrong moves, and it'll be game over. But what if I told you the best way to survive all 12 treacherous levels? What if I showed you secret tricks and glitches, like how to avoid death by screen wrapping in the auto-scrolling levels? And what if I told you the best way to defeat every boss? Even to Tonga himself? Well, on today's episode of You Can Beat Video Games, we'll learn all of that and more. If you're new to the channel, we're doing deep dives on retro video games and giving you the professional strategies that can be used by the casual gamer. Please make sure to subscribe and check out youcanbeatvideogames.com for episode lists, news, and official You Can Beat Video Games merchandise. And please join our Patreon for access to an exclusive Discord community and a chance to vote on future episodes. This episode was suggested and voted on by members of our Patreon community. Let's get started. Alright, Super Mario Land. Before we jump into the game, I wanted to mention that it is possible to continue if you run out of lives, but you have to earn the continues. For every 100,000 points you get in the same game, you'll get a continue, and you can earn multiples. You'll also start back at the beginning of the same level you died on, not at the very beginning of the world. Alright, let's jump into World 1-1. The first world is known as the Birabuto Kingdom, and you'll find a power-up mushroom at the beginning. After collecting this question mark block, press down on top of the pipe to enter the bonus area below. Unlike in other Mario games, you'll always enter and exit from the same pipe, so none of the pipes in Super Mario Land lead to shortcuts. Collect these coins as you drop down on the right side, but don't miss the hidden 1-up heart in the blocks above. If you're already Big Mario, you'll find a flower inside this question mark block, which will grant you the Super Ball ability. Make sure you're accurate when you fire your Super Ball, because you can only have one projectile on the screen at a time. Press down on this pipe to enter another bonus area. This one just contains some coins, so grab them and make your way to the pipe in the upper right. As you emerge from the pipe, wait for this fly enemy to jump and then stomp on it as it lands. In this box you'll find the game's first Starman, and you'll see they've changed the Starman music to a bit of classical music, a riff on the Infernal Gallop by Offenbach. You usually only get 100 points for each enemy you run into while invincible, but if you kill a higher value enemy with the Super Ball, any enemy that you hit afterwards will be worth the increased amount of points. There's a block here that contains a bunch of coins, and you can use your Super Ball to collect these ones, or if you rapidly tap down and right, you can squeeze into this small space as Big Mario. You can do the same thing here, or just use the Super Ball, and then drop down on the right side to reach the goal. There's a bit of a weird glitch here where you can shift the screen back to the left a bit, and if you ride on this platform up to the top, you can jump to the upper door, and you'll only get the bonus stage after finishing each level if you take the upper door instead of the lower one. Try to stop Mario in the space just before the one where you want him to be, and hopefully the ladder won't be in your way. Here in World 1-2, we'll have to do a good bit of platforming, but this level is quite short. In other Mario games, I recommend holding down the B button so that you're always running, but in this one you may want to slow down a bit. Mario's controls are a bit looser than normal, so you need to be a bit more careful here. There's a hidden 1-up down in the bottom, and then jump back up to the top before jumping onto the platform to the right. The bee-like enemies that drop spears on you are called bun-buns, and the easiest way to deal with them is to wait for them to drop the spear, then go either over or under them. Wait for these Goombo enemies to walk off the edge, and then jump across and grab the power-up. Jump onto these platforms and only jump across to the next one when it's slightly below the one that you're on. On the other side, you'll see a bombshell Koopa. You can take him out with your Super Ball, and don't miss the 1-up heart in the middle question mark block. From here, we're almost at the end, so jump back up to the top and then get onto this horizontally moving platform, and ride it over to this area where we'll avoid 2 more bun-buns, and then we'll be at the goal. Don't linger on these platforms very long because they'll fall out from under you, and make your way to the top door so that you get the bonus stage. Just like before, we're going to try to stop Mario when we see him on the line just above the 3 extra lives, and we want to do it when the ladder is not on the same level as him. And that brings us to level 1-3, which is an Egyptian themed level, and at the very beginning you can find this hidden lift that will take you up onto the ceiling. Up here you'll be able to avoid the enemies, and you'll be able to get a bunch of extra coins. Nice! Wait for the piranha plant to retract and then drop down and enter the pipe to reach another bonus area. Inside this one you can find a power-up in addition to the coins. So grab the loot and then make your way back up out of the pipe, and we're going to head across to the right. Avoid the piranha plants or hit them with your Super Ball, and when you see blocks like that, if you wait long enough, they will drop down on you. They're a lot more obvious when you're playing here on the Game Boy player, and you want to take out that Gowl enemy, and then you'll find another hidden lift right here. Ride it up onto the ceiling, and this time you'll find a pipe that leads to a bonus area. If you're careful on this one, you can bust all of the blocks on the right side, then get a running start and hit the one at the top, which contains a 1-up heart. Once you're done in here, head back out through the pipe, and that's going to bring us to the final stretch. There's a bunch of treasure if we take the path down at the bottom, but if you're Big Mario, well, you can't walk under, unless you do the trick where you keep alternating down, right, so that's all I'm doing here, down, right, down, right, down, right, down, right, down, right, and slowly but surely, you'll push your way through this narrow tunnel, and you'll even avoid the falling blocks because they'll fall very early, and when you get to the end, you'll be able to grab a bunch of coins and another power-up. Not bad. Even if you were small Mario and that block only contained a mushroom, you'll be able to find a flower in this set of blocks over here in the 3rd block from the right. So that'll give you the Super Balls that you'll want for the boss. Watch out for these Gowl enemies as you make your way across, and then it'll be time to face King Totomesu. The king always fires 2 fireballs in the same exact pattern, so if you stand right in this spot and just jump over the low fireball, you can easily take him out using your Super Balls. Without the Super Balls, it's a little bit harder, but still not too bad. Wait for him to shoot the low fireball, jump over it, then get a running start and jump over the boss as he lands from shooting the higher fireball. Land over here on the gate and you'll get the victory. Now there is another way you can win, but this is difficult to do. You need to get a running start, run off the top of this pyramid of blocks, and jump from the first block on the right. If you do it perfectly, you can land in this space, and then you need to do a curvy jump to get up onto a higher space, and then one more jump can bring you up onto the ceiling. From here, you can run all the way to the boss. Now you may be thinking, I'm gonna get stuck at the end and I won't be able to finish the level, but that's not true. As soon as you get to the end, you automatically finish the level and win. After being awarded points for remaining time on the clock, Mario will run over to the right and then teleport down to the bottom, where he'll meet Daisy for the first time. And this time, she transforms into a fly. Oh, Daisy. Yeah, it seems that our princess may be in another castle. After fighting the boss and rescuing Daisy for the first time, we'll be able to play the bonus game again, and this time the numbers have been shuffled around, but we can use the same technique to get the 3 lives. And that brings us to World 2, the Kingdom of Muda, which is an aquatic themed area. The water below looks like bubbling lava on this color palette, and it's just as dangerous as it looks. Mario has completely forgotten how to swim for this game. Over here you can collect a power-up, but don't go too far to the right or you won't be able to go down this pipe and enter this bonus area. There's a hidden power-up on the left, but you'll notice that if there are 2 power-ups on the screen at once, one of them will disappear. There are very few places in this game where you can try to spawn 2 power-ups on the screen at once, and I'm not sure why they even bothered to hide a power-up over on the left, considering there's another one in this box just outside. Because of Super Mario climate change or something, whenever the fish die here in the Kingdom of Muda, their bones are reanimated as Honen and they jump out of the water. They always jump out of the water in the same place, so just wait for them to jump and then quickly move past. Over here with the Starman, we can easily get past these fish, but don't move too quickly or you may fall off the platforms into the deadly water below. Smash this block for as many coins as it'll dispense, and then head down this pipe into another bonus area. There's a fun trick you can do in this one. If you break the 2 blocks below the pipe, you can actually exit through the bottom of the pipe if you hit the lower left corner. There's no real practical use for that, but it is fun to do. And once you get outside, you can hit this coin block again, and then continue to the right. Grab the power up, and over here we'll encounter a seahorse that spits fireballs called a Uraran Boo. These guys are dangerous, so take them seriously and remove them with a stomp before continuing to the right. And over here, if you're Big Mario or better, you'll be able to break the block and release the heart for a 1-up. Jump from this platform, but don't linger on the 2 blocks that will fall, and you should be able to make it to the door so we can reach the bonus stage. Of course, we've seen the bonus stage before. Try to stop Mario right before he's on the line that you want, and do it whenever the ladder is not on the same line. Easier said than done, but if you do it correctly, we'll be able to pick up 3 lives, and we'll be on to 2-2. If you're holding down the B button, Mario can run right over single space gaps. Then we can collect a power-up, take out this bombshell Koopa, and we can enter this pipe, which leads to a bonus room. We've seen bonus rooms that look like this before. Remember not to break the block that lets you get into the upper area, this one that I'm standing on now. If you do break it and you have the Super Ball, you can use the Super Ball to collect a lot of the coins up there in the top by standing on this block. We need to be a little bit more to the right, so have Mario's toe just sticking out over the edge, and you will be able to collect most of the coins that way. So if you mess up, that's one way you can recover, but get as many coins as you can and then head back out of the pipe. Collect the coins in boxes that respawned while you were in the pipe, and then hop on top of this box so that we can make it over to this horizontally moving platform. From here, we're going to jump across and we can access a secret bonus area. There's an invisible platform you can stand on here, and you're supposed to be small Mario to get under this, but if you alternatingly tap down and right, so like down, right, down, right, down, right, Mario will squeeze through the gap, and you'll be able to collect all of the treasures down here, even if you're big. Not all of the good treasures are located down on the lower level, and there's actually a Starman in this box in the upper part. We can collect it and then continue down at the bottom, and if we head up to the top again, there's another power-up at the end of this row of blocks. So we'll collect that as well, and then continue along the bottom path. Watch out for this Goombo enemy, also known as a Chibobo if you're looking at the original Japanese names, and continue to the right. Right here, we're going to be able to get another power-up, so there's a whole lot of power-ups in that small area, and then that's going to bring us almost to the end of the level. Take out the Uraran Boo as well as this robotic mecha-bun, and then we'll be able to ride a few platforms over to the right, where we'll find this small stack of question mark boxes, and this Uraran Boo is a dangerous one. Wait down here for a good opportunity, and then get to this position where you can easily take him out. That guy will certainly hit you if you're not paying attention. Head up here, collect the coins, and then head down into another bonus area. This bonus room looks similar, but the hidden block is in a different spot, and there is a hidden coin block below the pipe, which I didn't grab in this run, but it is marked on the map. If you jump on top of this block, you can easily make a running jump over to this platform without having to deal with the falling blocks that would normally get you up here. As usual, stop Mario on the line right before the 3, and hopefully the ladder will cooperate with you. Collect your limes, and then we'll be on to 2-3, which is an auto-scrolling shooter. For this level only, Mario pilots a vehicle called the Marine Pop, and while you'll be able to find mushrooms to give you an additional hit in this level, you will not be able to find any flowers. You will be able to get a Starman down here on the lower row, and that's going to make this section way easier. You might want to shoot the enemies anyways though, because shooting them with your torpedoes will often yield more points than simply running into them while invincible. While operating the Marine Pop, you can press A or B to fire a torpedo, and if you mash both buttons, you'll be able to fire super fast. Whenever you shoot one of these octopus enemies twice, it explodes into a pair of fireballs, so watch out for that. And make sure to shoot through these walls. You don't want to get stuck on the left side whenever the screen is scrolling. We'll talk about screen wrapping in a moment, but for now, assume that that would be instant death. You'll know you're close to the end when you reach the coins that spell out Mario. There are a total of 62 of them to grab here, but don't get stuck behind the wall trying to get them all. Also, if you shoot through at the bottom here, you'll be able to collect a 1-up heart, and if you shoot through the top row of this lower section of blocks, you'll find a last-minute power-up before the boss, Dragon Zamasu. You'll notice right away that you're safe up here in the upper left corner. You won't be able to shoot the boss from here, but the boss only shoots straight forward, so you can wait until it gets near the top of the screen and then dip down for a few shots and then go back up into your hiding spot. Of course, that's a more conservative strategy. If you stay over on the left side of the screen, mash A and B, and just kind of follow the boss up and down while avoiding his shots, you should be able to defeat him without too much of an issue. Now, there are a couple of other ways to defeat this boss, but before we get to those, let's talk about a way to gain infinite lives in this level. So you remember the Mario coins? Well, there's 62 of them, and that's quite a few, and right after those coins you can get a 1-up. So collect as many of the coins as you can, and don't forget to get the 1-up heart, and then make sure to get killed by this octopus. Do not go any farther than that octopus, or you'll hit the next checkpoint and the trick won't work. You'll respawn back here, allowing you to collect the Mario coins again, and as long as you always collect the 1-up heart and always get killed by the same octopus enemy, you should net 1 extra life for about every other death. It'll take some time, but you can build up a ton of extra lives here, and you'll see that we have 4 right now, but after a while, well, now we have 31. Building up some extra lives here could be a good idea because the game is certainly about to get harder. Whenever you're done gaining lives, another good way to deal with this boss is to hurry to the lower right corner, and you should be able to get under him before he spawns. You'll need to quickly shoot out the blocks, but if you do it fast enough, you won't have to fight the boss at all. Now, there are 2 versions of this game, and if you're playing the older version, version 1.0, if you hold left as you're about to be pushed off the screen, you'll wrap over to the right side instead of dying. Now, if you're playing on version 1.1, you will get killed, so understand that you may have the newer version of the game. You can use this trick to immediately defeat the boss with a screen wrap. Here's how it's done. You need to be in this position, and when you're just about to be pushed off the screen, you tap left, and then look in the upper right corner. When you see 4 blocks, that's when you tap down and right. If you do it perfectly, you'll move Mario onto the gate switch and immediately finish the boss. That's a very difficult trick to do, but it is fun to try, especially considering that you'll see this scene with Princess Daisy that is a little bit glitched out. She still says the same thing though, just some of the letters are moved off the side of the screen. She turns into an octopus this time, and once she's finished hopping off to the right, we'll be able to play another bonus game and move on to World 3. Oh, this time we used the ladder, but it was in our favor, and we were able to get the 3 lives. Lucky. Well, if that last level reminded you of Gradius, here we have World 3, the Eastern Kingdom, which is Easter Island themed. Grab this power up and then quickly run across the falling blocks, and if you press down on this pipe, you can enter the level's first bonus area. If you just walk off to the right there, you should be able to get over the spikes, collect the coins, and then exit the pipe. As you approach this next formation of floating rocks, you'll notice that one of the Easter Island heads has sprouted wings and is bouncing towards us. That's an enemy known as a Batadon, and whenever you see a Batadon, there's almost always a place where you can position Mario so that the Batadon will fly right into his feet, instantly killing it. So that's what we did there, and after crossing over these moving platforms, we'll come to this area where you can collect the coins with your Super Ball. Don't jump in the pit after them, that will not turn out well, but you can hold right as you drop down here and you won't die at the bottom. Across the gap, you'll see a bullet bill cannon that pops out of a pipe. In Super Mario Land, all of the bullet bill cannons are like this. They're never just out in the open. Watch out for a running statue known as a Toko Toko as you head across to the right, and if you jump up on the left side of this formation, you can avoid another Toko Toko, and if you wait here, a Batadon will go right into Mario's feet and be instantly killed. Nice. Over here, we can grab a coin out of this question mark block, but there's a hidden 1-up floating in the air. Watch out for another Batadon, you know how to defeat those guys by now, and try to take out the Bombshell Koopa using your Super Ball. Wait for this platform to be moving left near the nose of the Easter Island statue in the background. That's when you want to drop off and you'll land on it perfectly. From here, carefully make your way across the platforms and jump down to this pipe below. Above the pipe, you'll be able to collect a power-up. If you need a mushroom here, make sure you're prepared to collect it. You don't want it to fall into the pit. Move slowly to the right here. There's going to be several Toko Tokos that come running your way, so you'll want to deal with them first, and then you can jump up into the area with the coins. Continue to the right, waiting here to take out a Batadon, and head down to the bottom where we can collect a few more coins before jumping up onto the pipe, which we can enter to access a bonus area. This one is filled with coins. You can collect them fairly quickly using your Super Ball, or just jump around and grab as many as you can. We are kind of getting low on time at this point, but we should be able to finish the level without much problem. As you emerge from the pipe, you're going to come to an area where you need to ride on a boulder to get across some spikes. This is going to sound obvious, but make sure to actually jump onto the rock. It may look like you can just walk off the ledge to get onto the rock, and you can, but jumping will give you a lot more control, and you should be able to land right on the top of the rock and not on one of its corners. If you land on the corner or the edge of the rock, you may end up taking damage, or you may not land on it at all. We're getting low on time, but we're also almost at the end. Over here, you can wait for a rock if you want to, but you can make it across those spikes without one. However, the rock will help you get up to this moving platform, and then we could jump on a few of those falling platforms to get to the upper door. 3-1 is one of the longest levels in the game, so pat yourself on the back for getting to the end of this one. And to get the 3 lives, we're going to try to press the button when we see Mario on the line right above the 3, and hopefully the ladder will cooperate. This large spider is called a Sue, and it will move downwards whenever you get close to it. You can kill it with 2 Super Balls or by simply jumping on its back. Up here, you can reveal a hidden platform in the air, and you can jump onto it to get up onto the ceiling, where you can get past a few enemies and collect a few coins, but the pipe at the end does not lead to a bonus area. Make sure to grab this power-up. Hopefully you have the Super Ball at this point, because that will make this next area a lot easier. Take out this Sue by either jumping on its back or hitting it with 2 Super Balls, and this one is easy enough to avoid by just going under it as it goes back up into the ceiling. Continue over to the right and you'll see some coins on the upper tier and a pipe. Well, there's one of those hidden lifts in the middle that you can find, and you can jump on it to get up onto the ceiling, where you'll be able to enter this hidden bonus room. This time you'll find a power-up in the question mark block in the lower right corner, so if you need it, make sure to grab that before entering the exit pipe. And once you have everything inside, head back out where you'll be able to grab the coins up at the top, and then we can continue over to the right. You can make the lift appear again, but there's no real reason to do so. The spiders that jump towards you are called Kumos, and there are a few positions here where you can take out the Sue spiders from far away using your Super Balls. So do that and then take out that Bombshell Koopa with another Super Ball. Then watch out for this Kumo spider. That one's dangerous. Those guys always remind me of the spider that always gets me killed in Galaga. Grab another power-up and make your way to the right. If you take out a Bombshell Koopa from below, that will also prevent it from exploding. Wait here for this Galaga spider and then take it out with a stomp, and then we're going to have to ride the rocks again. Remember, jump onto the rocks and make sure to jump off in time so that you don't fall into the pit. Ride this rock a short distance, jump off, avoiding the bullet bill cannon on the other side. And we're going to be able to enter this pipe to reach another bonus room, and this time we'll find a coin block over here. You should be able to get a lot of coins out of that coin block if you jump fast enough, so collect as many as you can and then head out the exit pipe. Outside of the pipe, we're almost at the end of the level. Do a running jump here and you can skip some of those platforms. And then if you want to reach the upper door, make sure to jump quickly whenever you land on these falling platforms, and you can skip the last one. Just make a big jump to the door and you'll make it. This time the 3 is at the top of the bonus game, and if I had known it was going to be there, I could have mashed the button very quickly before we got into the bonus stage, and I may have been able to stop Mario at the top before anything got going. In any case, that brings us to the last level of World 3, and in this one, your platforming abilities will definitely be tested. Either do a running jump from this platform to the right when it's at the top, or if you're not comfortable with that, jump on the smaller one and then leap down below. Watch out for a rock that will come rolling your way, and hop up here to go down into another bonus room. In this one, you'll be able to collect a power-up in the question mark block in the lower right, so if you need one, grab it, and then head on outside. Outside of the pipe, run quickly across those single space gaps and then jump up to this area where you can get a 1-up heart in the 4th box from the right. Down in these question mark blocks, you'll only find coins, so if you don't want to deal with the 2 Kumo spiders down there, you can just skip those ones. And now it's time for some platform jumping. Try to be smart here, just use your super ball if you want to collect the coins in the air, and you want to jump from this platform down to the one with the pipe. Just avoid that moving platform at the bottom. You can go inside the pipe to reach another bonus room, and this one contains a nice coin block for you, and you can just run over here to collect these coins before going to the exit pipe in the upper right corner. Be aware that there's an invisible box here when you get out of the pipe, don't let that mess you up, and only jump onto these moving platforms when they're moving from left to right. Don't jump on them when they're moving in the other direction. Wait here for this Batadon to pass over your head, and then take out the Toko Toko at the bottom with your super balls if you have them, but if you need a power-up, you can find one here. Just don't get hit by the rock. Wait patiently here, and this Batadon will bounce into Mario's feet, as Batadons are wont to do, and over here we'll encounter the boss, Hi-Yoi-Hoi. If you stand in this spot, you'll be safe from the rocks, but you will need to jump to shoot a super ball at the boss. So wait for him to throw a rock, and once it's over your head, jump and hit him with a super ball. After a few hits, you'll be able to take him out, proving once and for all that there ain't no boss too ugly for super balls. If you don't have the super balls, it's a bit more difficult. The way that the developers intended for you to do it is that you jump onto one of the rocks, then run from the rock and jump onto the platform above Hi-Yoi-Hoi, and you should be able to reach the gate from there. Another thing that you can try that's probably a bit easier, just get hit by a rock and quickly run through him. If you do it that way, you probably won't fall into the pit, so that may be a bit safer, although it will cost you your power-up. With Hi-Yoi-Hoi defeated, we'll be able to go through the gate, where we'll see Daisy Princess once again. And just like the previous 2 times, she'll transform into a monster. Oh, Daisy. This time she turns into a Kumo spider. Ugh. Yeah, just bounce on off to the right there, Daisy. Before we move on, this is extremely difficult to set up, but if you get into the perfect position with Mario practically hovering over the waterfall here, the boss will keep moving towards you and will barely miss Mario, each time awarding you a coin. Pretty strange. It's not a good way to collect a lot of coins, but it is a fun trick to try. And here's our bonus stage again. Do your best to get as many lives as you can, and then we'll be on to the final world, the Kingdom of Chai. Make sure that you're holding to the right as you go down into this pipe so that Mario falls into the area with the coins. You can collect some of them with your Super Ball, but you won't be able to get them all. The Kingdom of Chai is clearly inspired by the country of China. See what they did there? You can see the bamboo in the background and this enemy, which is known as a Pion-Pi, but it's clearly inspired by the Jiangshi, which are the hopping vampires from Chinese mythology. If you have the Super Ball power, you want to use it against the Pion-Pi enemies, because if you simply stomp on them, they'll come back to life like Daffy Duck after getting smashed by an anvil. So the best way to get through this area is to wait before jumping across the gaps and let the Pion-Pi enemies jump into your range and then quickly finish them off with 2 Super Balls. If you don't have the Super Ball, you still want to wait for them before crossing the gap, but you'll want to jump and land on top of them, and then quickly run to the right to get away. Over here we can find a Starman in the last box on the left, but it's difficult to make the jump. The good news is you can keep going back up onto the pipe and trying it again until you get it, and once you've released the Starman, that's going to make this segment a good bit easier. Hop across to the right and quickly run through these piranha plants, and while you're invincible you can collect the coins in this block without having to worry about the bullet bill coming out of the cannon on the right. Over here you can find a power-up, and it would be good to get the Super Balls if you don't already have them, and then carefully make your way to the right, waiting for the objects to fall from above before attempting to collect the coins in this block. To the right is a tricky bit of platforming. Hop onto the horizontally moving platform, then to the diagonally moving one. Jump from the first set of falling blocks to the second, then do a big jump over the third set, and you should be able to land on the moving platform. Hop on that Peon Pea enemy and quickly move to the right. There's a couple more Peon Peas in this area, but there's also a power-up in the question mark block if you need it. Over here, if you want to collect the coins on the side, make sure to grab them before you grab the hidden one up in the block above. Once you reveal that heart, you're going to need to run over to the right, and you won't be able to collect those other coins anymore. Hop across to the right and duck to avoid any bullets, then enter the first pipe on the left, holding to the right so that Mario drifts into the area where the coins are. Once you're done collecting the coins, exit through the pipe in the upper right corner, and you're going to do a running jump from the top pipe over to the right, and then quickly hop up on top of the question mark block to avoid the 3 Peon Pea enemies that attack you there. From here, if you do a running jump from this pipe, you can skip over the diagonally moving platform and jump right up to those single-spaced blocks that you can run straight across, where you'll reach a door and another bonus game. We're going to try to press the button when we see Mario at the very bottom so that hopefully he'll stop at the top, and there won't be a ladder in our way so that we can get the 3 lives, and that brings us to World 4-2. That plant monster is called a pom-pom flower, and your best bet is to wait for it to come over to the left and then jump across to the right. Grab the power-up and then jump down into this pipe. Inside you'll find just so many coins. You'll only be able to collect so many of them if you don't have the Super Ball, but if you do have the Super Ball and you're willing to spend the time, it is possible to collect every single coin in here. Now, we don't have all day, so we're not going to try to get all of them, but just get as many as you want, and then head back outside. This snake monster, called a Nyololan, behaves exactly like the small sphinxes called Gowls that we encountered back in level 1-3. If you're Big Mario or better, you can take the upper path here, which is much easier and has a bunch of treasure for you to collect. So that path is certainly recommended, but if you're small, you won't be able to get up there. Over here, avoid the pom-pom flower and collect another power-up, and then we'll head over into this bricked area, which will lead to the end of the level. These fireballs rotate in a simple circular pattern around the square blocks in the center, and in this question mark you'll find a Starman, but don't go too quickly across these platforms, or you may fall into the lava below. We're the amazing Animaniacs, will split your sides in half. We are the most exciting ever. Hop onto this platform and then hop onto the next one as it's moving to the left. And over here on the right, you want to take out these enemies with your Super Ball if you have it, or wait for that Nyololan to spit a fireball and then hop on top of it. Over here you can enter this pipe to find another large room filled with coins. If you have the Super Ball, you can get them all, otherwise just collect as many as you can in the lower half. Once you're done collecting coins in here, you're going to exit through the pipe in the lower right, and then we'll be on to the final bit of this level. That's probably enough. Back on the top side, there's another Nyololion snake. Hop on top of it and use your super balls to take out the bombshell Koopas if you can. And then just run right across the single space gaps, ride this platform to the top, and hold to the right as that platform falls beneath you. From here, you just have to hop on top of a couple falling platforms to reach the upper door. And if you don't reach the upper door, you can still finish the level, you just won't get the bonus stage. Level 4-2 was the final normal platforming level of the game, because level 4-3 is an auto-scrolling shooter. Mario's airplane is called the Sky Pop, and it's essentially the same as the Marine Pop vehicle that we used before. You can use both A and B to fire your cannons, and if you mash both of them, you'll be able to fire very quickly. The enemy airplanes that you see are called Rocketons, and you want to shoot those as soon as they appear, because if they fly past you, they'll launch a bullet backwards towards your position. All of the power-ups in this level are located in boxes at the top of the screen, so make sure to shoot those to find mushrooms, a 1-up heart, and over here you'll be able to find the game's last Starman. The Starman will help you get through an area that has tons of enemies, including the flying chickens and the glitter enemies that can't be killed by your cannon. So while you're invincible, you may want to shoot the enemies anyway because you'll get some more points that way. And over here, make sure that you stay away from the walls when they get to the left side of the screen. You don't want to get crushed back there because that would be instant death. In this room, you'll be able to collect a bunch of coins, but don't get distracted and forget to shoot the blocks out at the bottom, allowing you to enter this corridor. There's no enemies here, so it's okay to fly all the way to the right side of the screen so that you can stay ahead of the auto scroll. This is it, the final stretch. Once we get to the end of this hallway, we're going to shoot through some blocks, and we'll have one more opportunity to get a power-up. It's in the topmost box here, so don't miss that mushroom, and then head down to the bottom, grab these coins, wait for the fists to be retracting up into the pipe to go through them, and that will bring you to the boss's room, where we'll have to fight this cloud called Biokinton first. The safest way to fight Biokinton is to only shoot it when it's on the right side of the screen, and once it goes down, it'll be time to fight Tatonga. Tatonga shoots large fireballs that split into 3 smaller ones, and you want to stay on the left side of the screen, which will give you more time to avoid the fireballs, and don't go very far to the top of the screen, otherwise you'll see that Tatonga will drift up through the ceiling and you won't be able to shoot him up there. So make sure to stay down in the middle or the lower parts, and you should be able to win. Just like in 2-3, if you have the older version 1.0 cartridge, you can hold left as you're about to be killed by the scrolling screen to automatically wrap over to the right side. Doing this will allow you to fly into areas that you were never intended to be able to fly into, including the area over here where you'll see that there are spikes that actually don't do anything. So these spikes are all just decoration because they don't think you can actually fly over here. You can't really use this trick to get you a good advantage against the final boss, but there is another way to beat that guy. You don't have to be playing on version 1.0 to do this trick either. So take out Biokinton, just like we did before. You'll be safest if you only shoot him when he's on the right side of the screen, and you need to have a mushroom for this strategy to work. We're going to position Mario right on top of the boss and quickly mash A and B at the same time while moving up with the boss as he drifts to the top of the screen. You'll take a hit, but you should be able to defeat Tatonga very quickly using that strategy. And that's it. We've done it. We've beaten Super Mario Land. All we can do now is sit back, relax, and enjoy the cheesy ending. This time Princess Daisy doesn't turn into a monster, and she follows Mario into a jet that's just kind of waiting there. I guess she wouldn't have fit in the Sky Pop? Well, it sure is convenient that Mario knows how to fly this thing. I kinda thought Mario was a plumber from Brooklyn, and although the guy can do some superhuman stuff, I don't think he had enough time to go to aviation school and take flight lessons. I would not want to be in a commercial airliner piloted by that guy. And with that, Mario's first handheld adventure on the Game Boy comes to a close. Although it wasn't packed in with the original Game Boys, it did eventually get packed in with the Game Boy Pocket when it was released in Australia. So eventually, it did get to serve its true purpose. Super Mario Land is still a fun game for a quick playthrough, but the most important thing about it is its legacy. This game demonstrates that Miyamoto didn't have to be involved in every Super Mario game that Nintendo would produce, and this game was followed up by Super Mario Land 2, which gave us Wario, who of course was the star of a very successful spin-off series. So in a way, without Super Mario Land, we would never have the Wario Land games. Before we go, it says the end here, but if you press start, you'll go back to the title screen and you'll see instead of a mushroom, there will be a Mario head next to the start icon. And when you start up a new game, this is expert mode. So there's going to be more enemies, making the game a good bit more challenging. And you can see that right away here in World 1-1. Look at all those fly enemies that weren't there before. And it's very apparent when you're fighting the boss in level 2-3 because there's 2 large fireballs that you have to deal with instead of 1. So that's one of the bigger changes in the game. If you can finish the entire game on expert mode, and surprisingly, Tatonga is not any more difficult than he was before, so there's no extra enemies you have to deal with there, you'll get the same exact ending that you got before, but when you get to the part where it says the end, if you press start, you'll go back to the title screen, and this time, you'll have a stage select available to you, so you can start on any level you want. Now, I want to point out that in any time in any part of this game, if you press start select A and B all at the same time, you'll reset, but that will take you back to normal difficulty, so keep that in mind. Well, I hope this video was able to help you finally beat Super Mario Land and return peace to the kingdom of Sarasa Land. If it did, give it a like, and make sure to subscribe for more videos, because there will always be more handheld worlds to rescue from alien invaders, and that's why we'll be back again next week with another video game you can beat. Thanks for watching.